I want to bring in California Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley, and I appreciate you coming on the show, and I want to talk very specifically about the whole idea of redistricting in the middle of the 10 years that it normally is. But can I just ask you about what Ryan just reported? And I wonder if you think, is it wise? Is it necessary? What message does it send to Texans if you have an escalation like this where you could force people to come back into the House and lock them in? Where are we?
Well, I think people are watching this saying this is not the way that our system should work, which is why I've introduced legislation saying we should not be redrawing district lines in the middle of the decade. In addition to what's taking place in Texas, in my state, in California, the governor has actually gone a step further and said that he wants to abolish our independent Citizens Redistricting Commission and return power to politicians to throw out the map that was drawn by the Independent Commission and replace it with a partisan map. And I don't think that's the way things should work. The old saying is that voters should choose their representatives. Representatives shouldn't choose their voters. And I think that what's happening right now across the country, and especially in California, is a very unhealthy thing for democracy.
Well, especially in California, but let's talk about the fact that it did start in Texas. It started with this idea that they had a plan, and Donald Trump has been very open about it. We want to have bigger control of the House of Representatives, so let's pick up 5 seats if we can. And yet you are one of just a handful of Republican lawmakers speaking out against redistricting. Tell the average person out there who never pays attention to it why this should matter to them and why it matters to you.
Yeah, I think that it's really important that when it comes to the rules of the road for how our democracy works, that we don't have politics infect that process. You know, we can fight our battles when it comes to policy, when it comes to issues, but when it comes to drawing district lines, there's an inherent conflict of interest in allowing politicians to draw their own district lines because they're then going to be running in those very districts. So in California, because of that issue, the inherent conflict of interest, we decided to remove this power from politicians and place it in the hands of an independent citizens commission, folks who are actually barred from running from office, that's balanced in terms of people who are Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And they get feedback from people all across the state in drawing district lines that make sense, that keep communities together so we don't have these crazy shapes or you don't have your neighbor have a different member of Congress than you do. And that's the process we've used in California after the 2010 and the 2020 census. And so I think it's a very bad thing. It's a dangerous thing for the governor of our state to now be saying, well, we're actually going to go back to the old way of doing things, giving power back to partisan politicians, sidelining this independent commission, which, by the way, it was the voters of California that established it in the first place.
So you're now backing a bill to stop that new House, the new House maps before 2020. You'd need the backing of your own party, obviously. Are you getting any?
Yeah, I think it's going to get a lot of bipartisan support. To be perfectly honest with you, I believe so. That's my goal, is to get this passed. And ultimately, I think that the speaker needs to step up and show some leadership here, because even our own members in states that might, in some theoretical way, mathematical way, stand to benefit from new maps, they don't like what's going on either. They don't like the prospect of having their district broken up or having communities that they've represented and that they've been voted in by taken out of their district. So if we have this sort of redistricting war breaking out across the country, where we're shuffling lines all across country and state after state, it's not a good thing for the current members of Congress. It's not a good thing for voters. It's not a good thing for either Democrats or Republicans. It's certainly not a good thing for the country. So I think that the speaker and Leader Jeffries need to show some leadership here to bring this chaos to an end. And I think that the bill that I've offered gives them the opportunity to do just that.
So let me ask you an "and if they don't" question. The House Republican campaign chair, Congressman Richard Hudson, told NBC News that redistricting is up to states. He had only heard about it, he said, this story about redistricting when news outlets wrote about it. And he said he's not concerned about California. But there are now at least 10 states considering redistricting plans. How big could this tit for tat get in the meantime? While this stuff starts playing out, what could happen nationwide?
Yeah, I think that nationwide it's going to be a very bad thing if this continues. It introduces a great deal of instability when states all across the country are changing the way their congressional representation works in the middle of the decade. And by the way, it distracts us. It's a huge distraction away from the really important issues that matter to the country right now. And so now that we have, as you say, this tit for tat or mutually assured destruction, whatever you want to call it, I think that actually provides a reason for both sides to take a deep breath and say, is this really a road we want to go down? Is this chaos good for either party? Is it good for the country? I think the answer to that is no. And so I think that, again, it's incumbent upon the Speaker and the leader of the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, to recognize that as both leaders of their party and stewards of the institution. They could actually reach some sort of understanding even without my bill, but I think the bill I've provided provides a clear solution and will stop this from happening in the future as well.